What makes a photo irresistible to buyers? Is it the composition, the color? Is it the subject matter? Or is it just knowing the skill involved to capture something amazing? If you're just starting to sell your photos or if you've been struggling with it, I'm going to show you the real reasons people buy photography and what you can do to increase your chance of making a sale. One special photo might get people excited about your work, but what is it that inspires them to take out their credit card? There may be many reasons people would buy a print from you, but it really all comes down to one or more of these three. And what role each plays depends on who's doing the buying. Often the amazing photograph that impresses your photographer friends can't find a home on someone's wall. And it's not because it isn't a great image. For most of my pieces that have sold well, I think a big part of it is how they look in different room settings. Now, obviously people like them enough to buy them, but for some people it comes down to, will it enhance their home decor? And for these buyers, that's what your work is to them, a way to accessorize their living room or bedroom. Now, there are other reasons people buy, so you shouldn't change your approach just to create work you think will look good on people's walls. I think you really have to be inspired by the work you're creating to successfully sell it. And while important to some, how it looks on a wall will be less important to others. So how do you know if your image or a group of images will look good on a wall? Some of the photographers I've started working with have found it helpful to put each photo through a wall test. There are a couple of apps out there for doing wall mock-ups. They come with lots of different room settings to make this job quick and easy. You can customize realistic looking frames and shadows. You can also do all of this manually in Photoshop, but you need your own room samples. I don't offer every image I create for sale, even if I really like it. If it doesn't work on a wall, it doesn't make the cut. What tends to work in most spaces? As you can imagine, it can be highly subjective, but usually more abstract or graphic images. Anything minimal or with muted colors tends to work fairly well. Bolder colors, if the image is more graphic or abstract, can also work. If black and white is your thing, good news. It usually goes in just about any room. But even if your work doesn't always look as good on a wall, there's an even more important reason people might buy it. Plus, I think most of us want our photographs to be more than just a way to accessorize someone's room. Okay, so my best-selling piece is this one, which was a huge surprise. Pink does not go as well with most decor styles as some of my other work. Now, there are people who like pink buildings and houses, and it can be a certain look, but people really seem to have a strong connection to this one. As photographers and artists, we create work that inspires us. People who buy art, whether it's photography or paintings, are drawn to work that inspires them. This one is called the Pink Palace, which is a Miami modern style building in West Vancouver. It dates back to the mid-1960s. Some of the buyers told me that I really captured that 60s Miami vibe. I've had people from all over buy this one, but most have been sold locally or to people who have a connection to Vancouver. The building itself was not well liked when it was first built. Back then, this look might have been great for Miami, but it didn't really work in the Pacific Northwest. But over time, it grew on people and the locals came to love it. After I first posted the photo on Instagram, I learned of a plan to demolish the building and have a new one go up in its place. I updated the post and people were up in arms. I started getting lots of comments about saving the Pink Palace. The building was eventually given a reprieve, at least for a few more years. Some of the people who commented bought a print once it went up for sale, and many of the buyers felt an emotional connection to a building. They had grown up seeing it, they knew someone who lived there, and the story of the Pink Palace really captivated people. It made me realize that when people buy art, they want to be part of something that connects them to others. And whenever your images allow them to do that, they feel a connection to your work and to you. Your photographs can create an emotional bond with people, one that brings them a sense of joy or peace or calm. Your work can even make someone angry or sad, although typically people buy art that brings more positive vibes to their space, so angry or sad is a tougher sell. So how do we inspire people with our work? Maybe they have a connection to the subject matter. The artwork itself may remind them of a holiday, a place, or an event. People can also be inspired by your journey and what your photography is about. For me, I'm always trying to find the art of the city. I create these scenes where I use architecture to try and show what it says about us at a particular time or a particular place. Share your journey or your mission on your website and your social media. Share it with people who subscribe to your email list. If people can understand the why of what you do, then you've forged an important connection with them. That increases the perceived value of your work, and it also increases the chances they will buy from you. So what are some of the other ways we can allow buyers to be part of something? There's been a huge trend the last few years of brands having a charitable ethos, artists included. You'll often notice that a portion of sales is donated to a particular cause. As someone who photographs architecture, I definitely believe in saving historic buildings whenever possible. But I'm much more concerned with how redevelopment has impacted people in local neighborhoods. Most large cities around the world are experiencing a housing crisis. So from the very beginning, I've donated 10% of all of my print sales, and for that matter, everything I do related to photography, to charities that help provide affordable housing. And as you consider the why of your photography, that's another way you can forge a connection with potential buyers. Donate some of the proceeds to a charity related to your genre. Let people know that they're not just buying a print, but they're also giving back to the community. So while looking good on a wall and being inspired are definitely important to buyers, what about the people who buy photography as an investment? In 2011, Andreas Gursky set a world record. One of his photographs sold at auction for more than $4.3 million, making it the most expensive photograph ever sold. Other prominent photographs have since surpassed his record, but the fact that we have photography selling for millions of dollars begs an important question. Would buyers acquire your work as an investment? Because of the higher price point, investment pieces are usually not sold online. Prints often sell for $10,000 plus, or in rare cases, even 6 or 7 figures. As you can imagine, the photographer is usually famous or at least semi-famous. So from time to time, though, you will have an astute collector who'd be interested in getting some pieces from an up-and-coming photographer. But overall, investment is not a big driver of art photography sales. Even so, there's an important takeaway that most of us can still use to increase the perceived value of our work. Your prints may not be bought as investment pieces, but you should still consider offering limited editions. Open editions give you the freedom to print indefinitely, but limited editions create scarcity and add value to your art. It's a way to make your work more exclusive and to boost sales. So with investment out of the picture, for most of us, it's really going to come down to whether they are inspired by it and whether it will look good on their wall. And while understanding why people buy is certainly important, if you can't find potential buyers to sell to, none of this will really matter. That's why you should watch this video next on how to start building an audience for your work. If you have a question or if you found any of this helpful, like or comment. If you're new here, subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of my new videos or updates. I'll see you next time.